Yo, it is me, Tyro, and today I'm gonna start that new style I was talking about, and also today we're talking about what if Izuku was Moon Knight Part Two. This new style is it's more of an explanation than anything than a story. I want to see how this goes. Maybe I'll burn myself out this way, but this is like for me, like this is so I can get comfortable doing more YouTube videos more often than writing out details and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, and also my recordings are probably gonna be one session, because I am planning on burning myself out by recording the entire series I've written down. Gotta love life. Anyway, let's get started with where we left off last time. This takes place roughly after the Stain fight. At least this part does. Well, Izuku, I feel like he would just go back home. He would pretty much like, turn off the suit, look at his arm. Now, last time I did give Izuku a power that I don't think is in the comics, where Moon Knight, like, I know he pretty much doesn't feel pain and stuff like that, but, like, Izuku in the last part, at least, got his entire arm cut off, then regrown. The way I described it was, like, sand, like, reforming his arm, and then, like, mixing into, like, flesh and stuff, and then it was weird. It was weird, and that's another reason why I had to change the styles, because, I need new ways to describe stuff. Anyway, so you look at his arm and you would see a red mark. Now, this red mark is there because I want to show that Izuku is not invincible. First off, because I've been doing a lot of OP characters in my recent videos lately. Anyway, so after this, Izuku pretty much it's around a week later, and this is when the UA press thing happens in the original series. But at this point, Izuku's trying to like go further into All for One schemes, because if you can remember in the last part, what was it? Khonshu? Yeah, I keep forgetting my own characters' names. Great, Khonshu said something about All for One and All Might, and about balancing good and evil by taking out the two big bads and the big good. So Izuku's main mission of this entire story will be taking out All for One and then All Might, or All Might and All for One. He knows he has to destroy them both, or at least make both of them kind of retire, and that's what his original plan is. So basically, he needs to understand what the next scheme is, and he's investigating, and eventually comes across Shigaraki on accident. And he does quickly understand what Shigaraki's, at least his gimmick is something with his hands. He's been spying on him for around a couple weeks now, and he understands his gimmick is his hands. If he touches something bad has to happen, right? So he's been following around for weeks, and then eventually the press for UA shows up, and basically Izuku follows Shigaraki, and you see Shigaraki's quirk firsthand, where Shigaraki will place his hand on, I don't know, a wall or something, and it just decays, and he walks in. So Izuku sees that definitely, and he's also in his Moon Knight costume just in case, you never know. And basically he follows Shigaraki. Shigaraki looks at some files and sees that not only is All Might teaching for UA, which Izuku will overhear a conversation between Shigaraki and an unknown character. Not only is All Might teaching in UA, but he has to go to this field trip-esque thing called the USJ. And he would pretty much like say out loud, because you know how Shigaraki is. He's like, this is gonna be my ultimate plan to finally kill All Might. Now, Khonshu speaks to Izuku, stating, well, there we go, one problem solved. But Izuku's like, well, if it's a field trip, that means other students will get involved. So Izuku and Khonshu kind of have like a discussion, not an argument, a discussion. Like, on one hand, this does help Izuku out a little bit, and it takes out one side, and now he only has to focus on the other one. But on the contrary, innocent people get in the way. So Izuku pretty much is like, okay, I can't do this by myself. Obviously Shigaraki leaves through a portal or something, but he does know something bad's gonna happen to the USJ, and somehow this scrawny person is gonna take out All Might. So what Izuku does is, not only does he need some help, he needs some help from someone he trusts. So this is when we're gonna be reintroduced into Stain. And yes, this still does take place roughly around before the USJ, obviously. But he talks to Stain one night and he asks for help. Now, I do want to emphasize the relationship between Stain and Izuku at this point. They already fought, and Izuku does understand, but they're not buddy buddy. So at first, Stain's like, "Why would I help my enemy? You're literally my enemy, right? And you want to protect heroes." And then Izuku's like, "Well, the truth is, I want to balance the world." Izuku wouldn't tell him his full plan because obviously saying you want to kill the number one hero and the number one bad, you'll sound crazy. All he says is he wants to balance out the world. He wants to take out villains and heroes at the same time, and he needs Stain's help because he already knows Stain's motives basically. And Stain's like only chance to is like at first Stain's like I'm getting through to this guy, right? Stain thinks that Izuku somewhat understands, but like the fact that like heroes aren't good, right? Obviously, if Stain found out that Izuku needs to take out All Might, he would flip. But basically, Stain goes on and he actually like explains like how he thinks most heroes are just in it for the money, and that All Might's really the only one true hero. And then Izuku's like, "Oh shit." Well, Izuku's pretty much like, "Well, I mean, I do have to kill him, but I don't have to tell him." Izuku in this series is gonna be a bit different. He's gonna be more deceptive. Which is this actually ties in with one of my complaints about Izuku in the series is that he seemed smart. He just never used it in a way that would, you know what I mean? Like, what in the series he copies moves, great. If I'm gonna do Izuku and I want to do these two personalities things, don't worry. But basically, Izuku's like, okay, well, Stain obviously isn't gonna like the fact that I might have to kill All Might. And yes, the two personality thing is still a thing. There's Izuku, then there's Deku, and Deku is the reason why Izuku can turn into Moon Knight. And this happens at random. He doesn't find out he has two personalities. He just blacks out, and for some reason, everything's like dead around him. You know what I mean? So basically, he was awake with Stain though. That's why it goes to him. Basically, pretty much they know that the USJ is gonna happen soon. So what Izuku and Stain do is they spy on UA a little bit. They see a bus leave a bunch of students. They follow the bus, and obviously the bus is going to the USJ. Now there is one key difference is that Izuku is not on the bus. So Bakugo pretty much is the top dog besides Todoroki, obviously. So a lot of characters, I mean, it wouldn't really affect a lot, I'm gonna be honest. I think most characters would still be talked to. But by the time they get to the USJ, obviously, the villain attack starts. Stain rushes first, but Izuku wants to stay out because Izuku's more of a strategist, right? And he's more of a let's watch and see what happens kind of type of person. Stain definitely would just rush in the second he sees villains, right? So obviously, Mr. Aizawa does his thing. He's all badass. He's beating up these villains, but eventually they're gonna have to overpower him a bit. Then that's when Stain comes in, starts killing villains, and like sees how Aizawa is protecting children, and there's no press. This is when Stain's like maybe some heroes are good, and this would like start his respect for Aizawa more or less, right? So Stain's killing a bunch of bad guys, like dead ass, like they're not coming back, chopping off heads, slicing through the gut, right? And Izuku's still waiting. He's waiting to see what Shigaraki's up to. He sees Shigaraki, and Aizawa tries to fight Shigaraki, but obviously, around the same thing kind of happens, and then Shigaraki pulls out the Nomu. And that's when Izuku's like, oh, damn. And then he sees Ida run towards UA. So instead of following Ida, he just goes and he bursts through the top window, like that giant ass solar thing. And then he like throws one of his like crescent blades. Obviously he's in suit, but he throws one of his crescent blades at the Nomu, and the Nomu like sticks to it's like it goes towards the ground. Now the way I saw it in the show was the crescent blades like magnetic to him in a way, and that's how it's gonna be like, where you can throw it and you can like retract it back. If it's not done in the comics, just tell me. I'll change it. I'll retcon it. I don't mind. Anyway, so the fight starts, but remember, this is Izuku, so he's not really a good fighter. He's more of a strategist. So most of the fight is really him dodging it and then thinking about ways to like trap the Nomu and stuff like that. He doesn't really like do a brawl on brawl. And maybe this is for the better because we know the Nomu's shock absorbent. And basically he keeps going until until the Nomu starts overpowering him, and then he sees All Might burst through the door. And this is when obviously we get like the eyes roll to the back of the head, his personality changes, and this is Deku. Now, I don't think I explained the two different personality thing. Izuku's strategist, he's kind, also a bit deceptive. Deku's a brawler. That's it. That's literally it. And I think I did explain why he has two personalities, but I will explain myself again, because, like I said, this is a different type of what if style. It's still a story, but it's also an explanation, right? It's to like make him. You know how like Mark in the show made it so he would like escape his beatings. This is him making it so he can seem stronger towards other people, right? So Deku comes out. He's like, "What the hell is going on? Who is this? Who's that?" He sees Nomu. He sees All Might. He's like, "Okay. Well, all I know now is that I'm getting my ass beat, and I need to like reverse this right now." So and also I think it'd be cool if the weapons changed instead of being like crescent blades. It turned into like a crescent shaped brass knuckle. I don't know. I know that's not really a thing, but it's my story, so I'ma do it. Alright, so he gets brass knuckles, he starts brawling on the Nomu, All Might comes in, All Might starts beating on the Nomu too. That's when Shigaraki reveals it's shock absorbent. And then Deku would be like, what was it? Cut absorbent? I know that's a stupid thing to say, but like at the same time, he's not supposed to be smart. He's like, well, I mean, shock absorbent, but what if I cut it? Right, so that's why I wanted it to be like a crushing shape blade slash brass knuckles. So what he does is he starts doing like hooks after hooks after hooks, cutting up the Nomu. If I do remember correctly, the Nomu I think has some regenerative power. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't add regenerative power, to a thing that's supposed to kill All Might, but let's just say it does. So he's trying to go faster and faster and faster, and All Might's just starting to beat on it more and more and more. So it gets to the point where I think it's Kodagiri. Kodagiri opens a portal, tries to trap Izuku, slash Deku, but Deku does something cool. He throws his blades at the Nomu, calls them back, because the way I want to do it is like he throws it up, calls them back to hit the Nomu in the back, making it follow. He'll go through the portal, and then when Kodagiri is about to close it, the Nomu would be halfway out. So the bottom half of the Nomu is cut off. Now, I don't know if the Nomu would survive this, but I'm pretty sure it shouldn't. So yeah, the Nomu's brutally killed, basically. And All Might's like, well, that's a bit overkill. There could have been a more humane way to end this. And Deku, because he obviously knows like Izuku's backstory, he's more of aware of it, like that he has like two different personalities. Deku's like, yeah, humane. You're one to talk, basically. He gives him like a cold shoulder, walks away, goes to Stain, checks on him, and All Might's like, I don't recognize you in the hero registry. As like Deku would look back, I want Deku to be more sassy than Izuku, you know what I mean? So Deku would look back and he say, well, I'm technically not a hero, but I'm more of a hero than you. And he pretty much takes Stain, they run away. And this is when like a bunch of the heroes, I think they already showed up by this point, but they show up now and they're like, well, who are those two guys? They would try to capture them, but considering the fact that Deku's probably a bit faster than most heroes that showed up there, they just like, okay. And All Might's like, let him go. They helped out, basically. And I think this is where I'm gonna end it off. I don't want these videos to be too long. I'm trying to cut down the time so it's easier for me to edit it. And I think I'll be done. Bye.